Chris, what is our fifth main topic today?
It's from Bobby Harris. Hey, John, it's game day.
It's game day.
Game day! Game day!
Super pumped to see the Batman tonight. I'm curious to know your most anticipated questions heading into the movie. For me, it's 1. What is the mystery in the film? 2. How will the mystery change the Batman at the end of the film? 3. What is the underlying message that Matt Reeves is trying to make with this film? Thanks, and bring on the filthy.
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, Bobby. And it is game day. It has been a day long awaited. It shall be a day long remembered. I have been looking forward to this movie. I mean, granted, it's been a little bit of an emotional roller coaster. I'm not going to lie to you. Because at first, this was going to be a Ben Affleck vehicle. And what I wanted more than anything in the world was Ben Affleck starring in, writing, and directing his own Batman film. And, found out with great heartbreak and sadness, the tearing of sackcloth and weeping and spreading of ashes on our heads, that we found out that Ben Affleck was not going to be it. And you know what? He is what I wanted, but if it couldn't be him, we have said this whole time, Matt Reeves is as good a replacement as any. If it can't be Ben, might as well be Matt. Matt Reeves has shown himself to be a creative, inventive, and imaginative director, and I think he can bring a lot of stuff to the Batman. So for a long time, the Batman has been my number one most anticipated film of the year. You only get to see your number one most anticipated film of the year once a year. Tonight is that night. I am so excited for it. Through everything that we've had to get through to get to this point, it all comes to a head tonight. I'm incredibly excited. What are the questions, though, that we're bringing in with us tonight? What are the things that I am most looking forward to in going into seeing this movie? Well, I would say this. I take no expectations into any movie. I take whatever expectations, thoughts, speculation, everything, and I leave it at the door of a theater when I go in. I just say, show me what you're going to show me. And that's what I'm going to do tonight. But before I walk through those doors, what is at the forefront of my mind here? All right, so here are the questions that I have going in. Number 1, I want to learn what the new origin of this Batman is. Now, we're clearly not going to see Ma and Pa Wayne getting shot down, and we already know all that. But every iteration of Batman has had a little bit of a different path that brought him to this point. We know from the prequel novel and comic that he's got a little bit of a different path to this point than other iterations have given us. So I'm curious to see if they're going to expound on that a little bit, give us a little bit more light on that, a few more details on it. Or if they avoid that altogether and say, nah, that's in the past. This is where Batman is right now. So that's interesting. Number 2, like everybody else, the trailers have been getting us to ask the question, what is the connection between Riddler and Batman? I mean, that's what the trailers have all been about. You're really not as smart as I thought you were. I mean, that was so good. So what is that connection between them? How is that going to be settled? I'm dying to see this thriller of a murder mystery. And that leads into the third thing I'm wondering. Is this the murder thriller, the serial killer thriller in the 90s vein that I think it's going to be? Maybe it will be, maybe it won't be. I'm dying to see the action. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't need this to be a traditional pop, boom, bow kind of comic book movie where I need a fight sequence every 15 minutes. I don't. But I'm curious to see what action sequences there are, the set pieces are going to be in there, and how they're going to be all set up. But my biggest question, honestly, is going to be, where does this end? Like, where does our Batman end up by the end of this film? Where is he at? Is he a little more seasoned? Do we see him take on new outlooks on life or personal philosophies that we kind of know about the Batman in other iterations, but maybe we see them brought in here? Maybe he kills a fool and decides, that felt yucky, I don't want to do that anymore. I mean, maybe yes, maybe no, I don't know. But these are the questions that I have going into it. But more importantly, most importantly, I am dying to see how Robert Pattinson is going to make this character his own. Every actor who has played this role, from Ben Affleck, Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, George Clooney, Christian Bale, everybody has had their own unique DNA of what their Batman was. And what I'm really curious to see is, what approach is Robert Pattinson going to take to making this Batman his own? And that's what I'm really, really excited about. Also, Zoe Kravitz's performance, I'm dying to see. Jeffrey Wright's performance, see how he comes across. But Paul Dano, I'll tell you what, if it wasn't for the fact, I've said it many times, if it wasn't for the fact that the greatest of all time, the GOAT of GOATs, if we didn't have the greatest of all time in There Will Be Blood with Paul Dano, Paul Dano's performance in There Will Be Blood would be talked about a lot more because he was absolutely brilliant in that. And so these are the things I'm going into it with. Rob, tonight's the night. We're seeing Batman tonight.
Tonight's the night.
Which, by the way, everybody, make sure you keep your eyes on our YouTube channel because we're going to be putting our right out of the theater reaction as we come out of the theater with it. So keep your eyes open for that. So, Rob, you're heading into it tonight. And when we walk through those doors tonight, what are the big things you're looking for and the questions you have? And what things are you looking forward to see the most?
Overall, the story. The idea that this is a 3-hour Batman that I think, at least I hope, we're going to see a real epic look at the corruption at a city's core. We're going to see it from different perspectives, not just Batman's perspective, but the perspective of Commissioner Gordon. I don't know what Catwoman's agenda is, but clearly she's not all goody two-shoes in this. There's something she wants, I'm sure. Why is Paul Dano doing what he's doing? What does all this have to say about us today, the audience, in the modern age? I think we're going to be getting all that. I expect this to be, in my mind, to be the most intellectual, the most insightful, the darkest, the scariest, perhaps, the most brutal, and yet, well, just the most epic Batman we've ever been given. I mean, I know I'm not looking for very much from this movie, John. Look, dude, my
pressure.
Expectations for this, I feel like a parent that knows his kid can win Olympic gold, and they're either gonna fall in the middle of the giant slalom or whatever, and I'm gonna be disappointed, or I'm gonna walk out of the theater elated. There's gonna be no middle ground for me. Unless there is.
You're the Batman stage mother?
I am the Batman stage mother. That's exactly right.
If you don't deliver, sweetie, I'm going to be so disappointed.
Oh, man, that is me. That is me. It's like, this is a really the most obscure reference in the world, but in 1980s Fame, one of the characters' names is Doris Finsucker, and she has the ultimate stage mother. I'm Doris Finsucker's mother going into this movie. Because you brought it up.
Not a lot of Fame references these days.
No, and that's a 42-year-old movie reference. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Hot Lunch Jam. If you guys haven't seen the original movie Fame, you're missing out.
They turned it into a TV series too, didn't they?
They did.
They sure did.
Like 2 different TV series. They rebooted it.
I didn't
They
know
sure
that.
tried.
Anyway, they sure tried.
The TV show was good.
Hey guys, we want to take a second and thank one of the sponsors of today's videos, Wondery's podcast, Badlands. Most of us have accepted that celebrities and stars live by a different set of rules, more relaxed rules. At times, they even seem to get away with murder, and some literally do. On the Badlands podcast, listen to the real-life stories of A-listers whose crimes and career lows are as unbelievable as some of their films' plot twists. On this season, they look at Heath Ledger's spiral into darkness and his final days. They'll also cover Brittany Murphy's mysterious, unusual death and Jack Nicholson's proclivity to fits of rage. Also, did you know that America's Dad, Tim Allen, the man who played Santa Claus, he got his comedy start in a Minnesota prison? For all that and more, listen to Badlands, a true crime podcast that dives deep into the stories of the famous at their most infamous. You guys know I love stories, but I also love the stories behind the stories, and that's why you guys should listen to this. You're going to love Badlands. Get new episodes every Wednesday wherever you get your podcasts, or binge all of Season 3 ad-free right now only on Amazon Music. Chris,
wow,
you're heading into Batman
You're
with us
young.
tonight. What are the questions you have you're bringing into it? What are you looking forward to seeing how they resolve? What's on your mind going into these movies?
My biggest question is, please, is this going to be good since we're seeing it twice this week? But I'm ready for it. I've got my Killing Joke jacket on. I'm all hyped for it. I really want to know what the Riddler's deal is. I want to understand this dynamic between Catwoman and the Bat, too. You know, they're very, very flirty. They're very, very will they, won't they? But there also seems to be some tension there, too. Are they fighting on the same side? Are they against each other? What's going on? I really, really want to see Jeffrey Wright. I'm so excited for his Commissioner Gordon. I love that man's voice so much. He was my favorite part of The French Dispatch, too. And I really I want more people to see him and not just do, oh, there's that actor I know. There's that actor's voice who I recognize. I want everyone to know Jeffrey Wright. Jeffrey Wright. I want them to know that name. And yeah, I just want to know about Riddler and his latte art. Why is he hanging out in diners? Why is he so grumpy? What's going on?
And then, of course, one of the big questions that a lot of people have been bringing up and asking is, are they going to hint at future Batman villains?
Oh, absolutely.
Because, of course, remember at the end of Batman, we just did our movie club of Batman Begins. And we all remember how that one ends. Commissioner Gordon, Batman on a rooftop. For instance, there's this new guy. He brings out the Joker calling card. I'll look into it. And then who's going to look into it? Do we get some kind of tease about maybe, I mean, God forbid, a Mr. Freeze? Do we get some kind of tease about...
God forbid? If you do it right, that's such a compelling story.
Well, Matt Reeves has been talking about that.
Yes. Matt Reeves.
And don't forget, you got Penguin in there too.
Yep. Yeah, so we got which is spinning off into its own HBO.
And Falcone and all that. We're totally going to get some tease.
But of course, the one that everybody wants to know about is, are they going to tease Joker?
No.
On some. You don't think they're going to give any Joker
I don't
tease?
think they're going to do that this early, especially because, I mean, Joaquin's movie is pretty fresh still.
Yeah.
And even though that's its own separate entity, right? I don't think they're going to bring the Joker into the mix this soon. I would love Mr.
They're totally
Freeze. You think they will?
Somehow. I mean, they're going to plant some seed somewhere. Whether that seed will sprout, I don't know, but we're going to know it's planted.
There are some people who think that Kogan, I always mispronounce, I can't know his name, Druig from Eternals.
Druig, yeah.
That some people think he might be a Joker character. That we might find out, go into this movie and find out he's a Joker character. Which
I mean,
I'm
not
leaning
mad
towards
about that.
I'm leaning towards what you're saying because they did it in Batman Begins. Would they just carbon copy that and do it again here? Would they do the exact same thing that Batman Begins did by ending with a Joker tease? I don't think they will. Now, we're going to know about 9 hours from now.
Yeah.
For sure, whether that's the case or not. But I'm going to go no. But you think there's a chance they do tease Joker?
I think they're, yes. I mean, we've got Catwoman, Riddler, we've got Falcone, we've got so many other references. Why wouldn't they?
I know they did it. Joker, I just think they're going to take more time getting a Joker again. They did the exact same thing in Batman Begins. They do the movie, end with a Joker tease at the end. Do they really do that again here?
Yes. Yes, I think they do. I mean, we've got the Pantheon. I mean, why wouldn't they?
For the reasons I already said, I think it would look too much like they're just trying to follow the same blueprint.
But the speed, it might not be as obvious. It might be a small something. I don't know.
I mean, look, all I'm saying is I don't think they end with Jeffrey Wright. I mean, now you got me wanting to say Jeffrey Rush again.
I know.
Yeah.
I kept screwing it up.
I don't think
I was
we're
like,
gonna have
know his
somebody
name, and I didn't even say it right.
Well, we're glad you're here, Batman.
Wait till they get a load of me.
Now
We're not
there are
going to
more
have
villains
that. You
coming
know,
up.
it's not going to be that.
A guy with clown makeup is running around town, Batman. What are we going to do? Like, I don't know. I just don't think that'll happen. But maybe some kind of an Easter egg drop, maybe halfway through the movie or something like that. That could be a possibility.
I think they're going to save the Joker thing for further down the line. I think he's going to start from the, below Joker and work his way up.
The real question is, will this movie be a one-off?
That's what I was asking at first, but you guys told me that now it's not, right?
Well, I mean, like, what we do know is that Pattinson did sign a multi-film deal.
Sure.
So they clearly weren't going into it with the mindset that this is a one-shot movie, period. So they're like, obviously, if this thing is a big success, they want to, so they signed into a multi-film deal. So it's all going to be about the box office on this one. I think they'd want to turn it into its own separate franchise. But the question is, will it make enough money to do it? And I don't know about that. Like, I think it's going to have a big opening weekend, but I don't know what the long-term buy. I mean, this is a 3-hour movie. So, I mean, I don't know how many people with a dark, remember, it's a 3-hour movie that's not a light, fun movie. It's a dark, intense, gritty 3 hours. And are people going to go back time after time after time to see a 3-hour deep, dark, and gritty movie? And I'm not saying they're not. I'm just saying I don't know the answer to that question yet. So I don't know, Rob, what do you think? Do you think, is this the type of material that people will rush back to again and again and again and again?
Well, it's not a mirth-filled comedic romp that's going to put a smile on everyone's face. I don't think. But I think people, it doesn't matter whether a story is light, dark, or somewhere in the middle. If it's a great, compelling narrative, people will go see it.
But will they go back again? Because I'll tell you what, like, this is an extreme example. I've never been able to watch Schindler's List again. It's brilliant. One of the most brilliant movies ever made. I have not been able to watch it again. Now, I'm not saying Schindler's List is Batman. That's an extreme example. But I'm just wondering if that's the kind of movie that people can think is great, but maybe may not want to go back.
I think it's a
again.
good point. I mean, although you've still got Batman Wrecking Dudes. I mean,
Yep.
it's still going to be a Batman movie. And there's going to be, you got Catwoman, you got Penguin, you got Commissioner Gordon, you've got Falcone. We're still going to get that juicy Batman goodness. I mean, if you think back to Frank Miller's Batman when he was writing Dark Knight Returns, that was dark, dark, dark. And even Year One. And I read those comics 30 times each.
You know, John, the most important part I think of this movie for me that dreads like 3-hour movies is the Riddler. Like,
Right.
if he's compelling, if he's interesting, just
Yeah.
like the Joker was in the.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Then I watched that movie, the second, what was it, The Dark Knight?
Dark Knight, yeah.
Twice in theater, and that's a long movie. But it was because the villain was so compelling. Like, I know everything, like most of everything about Batman already. Like, I know what he's capable of doing. This,
Boxers or briefs?
yeah, no, not.
I'm just saying.
But if the Riddler is you know, is interesting, then of course, like, I'll go back to see it just for that villain. I mean, if this is Batman's like first big detective case, the Riddler is like up there of mental
Yeah.
warfare and all that stuff. If he could solve his case, anyone else after him is going to be a cake.
Well, I think you raise a good point because, Rob, you're benching out. Like, Batman is still going to be wrecking fools. We're going to get that. So we know the Batman part of it is going to be infinitely rewatchable. I think you raise a good point, right? The question is going to be, is Riddler going to become infinitely rewatchable? That'll kind of become the case. Now, we're obviously going to see it twice in the next couple of days. I think a lot of people already have multiple viewings booked for this weekend. The question is, will it have legs? We don't know. Big question for you guys. What do you think about this? Do you have some questions right at the front of your head? Do you have some burning questions in your head that you are most looking forward to having answered going into the Batman, either tonight, if you're one of the 100,000 people going to go see it tonight, or this coming weekend? Whatever those are, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.